Whenever we get too pleased with ourselves, I think perhaps we should remember the judgment of Walter Lippmann. Journalism, he said, was the last refuge of the vaguely talented. 48 years ago, almost today, to the day, up a little higher? Okay, thank you. I began journalism with the intense desire to become sports editor of the Sherbrooke Daily Record. I actually made that at one point during one summer when the sports editor fell ill. I was very lucky. But those were interesting days. Those were days when we had typewriters, we had carbon paper, people smoked in the newsroom. I even shouted once, "Hey, sweetheart, get me a rewrite." It got a cool reception from Donald Manley, the foreign editor of the Globe and Mail. What I'm here to do tonight is to thank the Canadian Journalism Foundation very sincerely for this honor. I do it with full heart. I was a little suspicious when John Fraser called me initially. I'm always suspicious when Fraser calls. But then Tom Cairns wrote me a very nice letter with a list of the immortals who had preceded me, and frankly, I was thrilled. It's more like joining the French Academy than anything, I think. And beneath this becoming modesty, I'm tickled pink. My life in journalism perhaps shows a couple of things. One is that there is indeed a life outside journalism. Another is perhaps that you can leave full-time journalism and not land in the obituary columns. I often note that in the business, as we call it, when someone leaves the business, we speak of him as if he were dead. And also, perhaps that there is indeed a life outside Toronto. Taking a minute for that one to get through, yes. Puis à cet égard, si vous le permettez, je tiens à remercier très sincèrement tous les gens à la Gazette qui ont fait de ma deuxième vie journalistique une expérience aussi agréable. Quelques-uns sont ici ce soir de Montréal, et merci d'être venus. The Gazette remains an important part of my week, actually. I still do a weekly column for the Gazette, and every Friday I walk across the street into the building, find myself a terminal, and type it out. The terrible truth is I still like newsrooms. I like the deadline atmosphere, the plane crash humor, and the no bullshit values. And the good news is that I can tell you for sure, 8 years on, it's the same as it always was, which means it probably will remain the same, and that's a good thing. There are two people that I wish were here tonight. The first is Richard Doyle, Dick Doyle, the late and long-time editor of the Globe and Mail, who was such a great mentor to so many of us who are in fact here tonight. John Fraser, Jeff Stevens. I won't name them all, but he did a tremendous amount of work for all of us. Dick had a pretty direct approach to journalism. It was get the story right, get the damn thing written. And if there was a little style and humor along the way, well, so much the better. But get it in the paper. We need more Dick Doyles today. The other one I miss a lot is June Callwood, who is well known to most of you here, I think. This was one journalist who was not content just to put her convictions in the paper. She worked directly to aid the homeless, the oppressed, people whose civil rights were being abused. In the Globe and Mail in the 1980s, we used to use her as sort of a counterweight to the report on business. Every week, scores and scores of pages on how to make money, and one Callwood column on the poor and oppressed. And it was no contest. The protest poured in from the business community. Unfair reporting, biased commentary, shameless crusading. It was almost socialism. And I think sometimes when I think of the future of this business, we need more June Callwoods. And I think a second thought, that no matter how many new media may appear, how many takeovers there are, how much convergence there is, There will always be a place for good reporters and good editors. And thank you for this tonight.